had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense. Nothing would be what it is, because everything would be what it isn't. And contrary-wise, what it is, it wouldn't be. And what it wouldn't be, it would. You see?
Welcome to Wonderland. Come in, have no fear.
Welcome to Wonderland, where self-discovery takes a curious and whimsical turn. This is Wonderland Unlocked, a journey into the heart of Wonderland itself, exploring the emotions, struggles, and personal growth that shape who we are. I'm Courtney, a peer support specialist with my own winding path through identity, emotions, and transformation. Inspired by my experiences and the lessons I've learned, I created this series to explore how the characters of Wonderland connect to our real-life challenges. In each episode, we'll shine a light on a different Wonderland character, uncovering what their story teaches us about ourselves. From Alice's search for identity to the Mad Hatter's chaos, the Treasure Cat's wisdom to the Queen of Hearts' fury, we'll explore what their journeys reveal about our own. So take a step down the rabbit hole, embrace the unexpected, and let's unlock Wonderland within.
Alice, sweetheart, it's time for tea. Alice? Alice?
Today, we'll be taking a closer look at one of the most intriguing and emotionally charged characters from Alice in Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts.
Her Imperial Highness, Her Grace, Her Excellency, Her Royal Majesty, the Queen of Hearts!
We all know her as a fiery, unpredictable figure who rules with an iron fist. Her famous cry is heard across Wonderland, and she's often seen as someone whose temper is as hot as her crown. But what if we looked beyond the Queen's anger? What if there's more beneath that quick temper, a deeper layer that could help us understand our own emotional complexities? Emotions are not just about anger. They're vast, powerful, and multifaceted, much like the Queen of Hearts. Many of us experience moments when our emotions feel overwhelming, chaotic, and sometimes even out of control. But here's the good news. We don't have to let those emotions define us. We're going to explore what it's like to live with intense emotions, how to make sense of them, and most importantly, how we can learn to manage them in ways that lead to a healthier, more fulfilling lives. Whether you identify with the Queen's explosive outbursts, or you experience other intense feelings like anxiety, sadness, or fear, we've got the tools and techniques to help you regain control and step into a more empowered version of yourself.
Why, it's a little girl. I warn you, child. If I lose my temper, you lose your head. Understand? With her head!
Emotions are powerful forces, and when they are managed well, they can drive us towards positive change. But when they're unchecked, they can create chaos in our lives, just like the Queen of Hearts causes mayhem in Wonderland. Let's unpack what that might look like and how we can turn this chaos into our strength. Taking a closer look at the Queen of Hearts, she's a character who's difficult to ignore, larger than life, demanding, and full of authority. When something doesn't go her way, it's not a quiet, polite objection. No, it's an explosion out of rage and demands for immediate action, typically resulting in someone's head on a chopping block. But beneath the surface, there's more to her emotional landscape. Many of us experience emotions that seem just as big and intense, whether it's anger, frustration, fear, sadness, or even joy. Intense emotions can feel like they have the power to take over our entire being. And when that happens, we might act impulsively, lash out, or withdraw without fully understanding what's going on inside us. The Queen of Hearts embodies this experience. Her emotions take control, and she becomes a slave to them. So what does it really mean to experience intense emotions? Let's break it down. When we feel overwhelmed by our emotions, it's like we're drowning in them. Everything feels bigger than it actually is. Anger can become rage, frustration can turn into despair, and sadness can spiral into a black hole. These overwhelming emotions can lead us to make decisions we might regret or behave in ways that don't align with our true selves. The Queen of Hearts doesn't just react out of nowhere. She's reacting because something important to her has been violated. She's sensitive to threats, both real and perceived, and her intense responses reflect her inner turmoil. Many of us experience similar emotional overwhelm, where a small trigger can lead to a massive reaction. It's exhausting, both physically and mentally, but also it's part of the human experience. Understanding that emotions are powerful forces that sometimes overwhelm us can be the first step towards managing them effectively. Another aspect of the Queen's emotional world is her need for control. She wants things done her way, and when they're not, it feels like the world is falling apart. We all experience a need for control in different areas of our lives. It could be our careers, our relationships, or even our personal space. When things don't go the way we envision, we can feel unmoored, like we're losing our grip on everything that matters to us. And just like the Queen, we might lash out in frustration. The key to managing these intense emotions isn't about eliminating them. It is about learning to navigate through them without letting them hijack our behavior or decision making. This is where emotional regulation comes in, which we'll dive into in the next section. Fear of vulnerability. Behind the Queen's stern exterior is something we all share: vulnerability. It's easier to maintain control through anger than it is to show vulnerability. For many of us, especially for those of us who experience intense emotions, showing vulnerability feels like an invitation for others to take advantage of us. We fear that if we open up, we'll lose control or be hurt. The Queen of Hearts' anger is a defense mechanism, a way to protect yourself from feeling weak or exposed. But we know that real strength lies in being able to show up as our authentic selves, even when it feels scary. Okay, so now that we've explored the emotional landscape of the Queen of Hearts, let's talk about how we can start managing those intense feelings that feel so overpowering. The first step is recognizing that emotions are neither good nor bad. They just are. They are signals that tell us something about our needs, desires, and experiences. The trick is learning how to respond to them in ways that serve us, rather than letting them control us. Let's talk about three key techniques that help you manage those intense emotions effectively. One of the most powerful tools in emotional regulation is to simply name your emotions. We often skip this step because we're so focused on the intensity of what we're feeling. But naming what you're experiencing helps to create distance between you and the emotion. Instead of being overwhelmed by anger, you can say, "I'm feeling frustrated," or "I'm feeling threatened." The more you practice this, the more you'll begin to separate the emotion from your identity, which means you'll no longer be a victim of it. When you can identify exactly what you're feeling, you can begin to process it in a healthy way instead of reacting impulsively. Sometimes emotions can hijack our bodies, and we think we can't think clearly because our fight or flight response kicks in. This is where grounding techniques come in handy. When you start feeling your emotions take over, try grounding yourself. A simple grounding technique is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method. Take a moment to look around and identify 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This method helps you reconnect with your environment and distracts you from the emotional flood inside. It's a simple but powerful way to regain control. Breathing is one of the most effective ways to regulate your emotions. Mindful breathing helps to calm the nervous system and bring you back to the present moment. When you're caught up in a storm of emotions, your breath can be your anchor. Try this. Take a deep breath in, count for about 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale slowly for a count of 6. Repeat this process a few times, and you'll start to notice a sense of calm washing all over you. It's not about stopping your emotions. It's about letting them flow without losing control. Now that we've learned some tools to help manage these intense emotions, let's talk about transforming those feelings into sources of strength. The Queen of Hearts isn't just about anger, she's also a powerful, passionate character. Her outbursts come from a place of deep care and desire for things to go well in her kingdom. Similarly, your intense emotions can be a source of motivation and drive. Let's talk about how we can channel these emotions as emotional energy into something positive. Instead of seeing intense emotions as something to fear or suppress, try reframing them. When you feel angry, think about what your anger is telling you. Are your boundaries being violated? Are you passionate about something that needs to change? The Queen of Hearts' anger could be reframed as a desire for justice or a need to stand up for herself. Your emotional energy can be a powerful motivator for taking action in your life. One of the most important aspects of emotional regulation is self-compassion. The Queen of Hearts doesn't show much compassion for herself or others. But when we are kind to ourselves, we give ourselves the grace to feel and process our emotions without judgment. Instead of criticizing yourself for feeling intensely, try to show yourself the same compassion you would show a friend. Setting boundaries is essential for emotional well-being. The Queen of Hearts often reacts because she doesn't know how to set emotional boundaries with herself or others. You can avoid emotional overwhelm by recognizing when you need to step back, take a break, or say no. Boundaries help you protect your emotional energy and prevent you from burning out. So here's the takeaway from today's episode. Intense emotions are not your enemy. They are part of who you are. Like the Queen of Hearts, you have the power to lead with passion, but it's also important to learn how to rein in that power. When it threatens to spiral out of control. By naming your emotions, practicing grounding techniques, breathing, and setting boundaries, you can transform your emotional intensity into a source of strength and resilience. You are the ruler of your own emotional kingdom. Take control and lead with confidence. Remember, navigating intense emotions isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Every step you take to understand and manage your feelings is a step towards emotional empowerment. So, the next time you feel your emotions rising, take a moment to pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully. And always remember, like the Queen of Hearts, you are powerful, and you can master the emotional journey ahead. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of intense emotions. Until next time, keep unlocking your inner wonderland. Yay me, yay you, and yay us.